You don't need another ChatGPT tool idea. You need to know if it's actually going to make you money. And here is how I'd validate an AI-powered business idea before wasting time building websites, branding, fancy pitch decks that no one's going to read, and most of all, wasting money. Hi, I'm Shaf. I've been an entrepreneur for more than a decade. Traditional business owner, bricks and mortar stores, e-commerce, business to business, and lots. And in this episode, I want to give you an idea about how you're going to validate, how I would actually validate an idea. Now, we all know, or if you've come across vibe coding, you'll know for a fact that pretty much anybody can now utilize tools that will create them a tech product, and overnight you'll become a tech product owner, a tech founder, put it this way. However, more important than ever will be validating that business idea, because not all of them are going to work, and this is how I would actually go about them. By the end of the episode, I would expect that you come to understand some of the key facets that go into actually validating, and where the opportunities are actually going to be. By the end of the decade, the vast majority of businesses will have AI integrated into their functions, in one or more of their functions. And these are the businesses that inherently will do well. In fact, they will probably be the only ones, I think, that will exist in our economies, as opposed to businesses that don't have any AI capabilities. So learning about engineering prompts and having conversations with the LLMs, large language models, i.e. ChatGPT, for example, or DeepSeek, or whatever you might want to use, knowing the language and being fluent with the language is something that you should already be starting to do. Now, I don't know everything, and I'm just here to marry up the world of traditional businesses, where we are right now, and what's to come, because people inherently are still people, and we're all going to have to be in the people business to be successful, to run, $1 million plus revenue a year business models. So what validation actually means is, and let's start with what validation isn't. Validation is definitely not asking if your friends are gonna buy the product. They are most probably not your target audience, not your target customer, and they'll probably be a lot nicer to you than some ordinary person who doesn't know you from a bar of soap. Okay. Validation is real world demand and real people taking action. And these actions can involve clicks, signups, exchanging money, and even feedback. The best validation to look for and to attain or to acquire is money. Let's pause here, because there'll be lots of people, and you included, might be running different business ideas, several and multiple business ideas. And at the end of the day, if they are not making you any money, they're just hobbies, to be honest. And in the entire sea of AI enhanced and AI powered tech products and tech companies, your idea isn't going to be special, and won't be special if no one wants the problem solved. So, three of the most common mistakes people make with business ideas is and particularly in tech, falling in love with the tech and what it looks like, that it looks cool. Cool doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. You might have built something clever, but who really cares? This is the real test. Solving a problem that doesn't hurt enough is another one. If it's not painful enough, it won't sell. If it's not painful enough, nobody's actually going to buy. No matter how much automation you put in, you could have automation put in from the get-go, end to end. But if it's not, if the problem is not painful enough, nobody's actually going to buy. Overbuilding before testing. This is a common one. You spending weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks building when you haven't even proven the absolute minimum. Now, by the way, this is totally unscripted, and mind you, I'd love you to follow the journey along. Yes, there's some expectations that I set to the end of this, at the end of this video, but also, if you want to follow the journey here in terms of the entrepreneurship and some of the knowledge that I'm going to build through this particular series, then give us a follow, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. I'm a new creator here on YouTube, and every little bit does help. So I'm asking you, give us a little hand if you can. It will be great. Now, moving on. How do you validate your idea? And how do we do this fast? Thankfully, in this day and age, we have AI that can actually help us. And I believe AI knows a lot more about people and marketing and demographics than people realize. It knows a lot more than we realize. So let's define a painful, expensive, or time-consuming problem. Who has this problem, and why is solving it with AI better, faster, cheaper than current options? I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you the sort of conversation. We're going to have a conversation here, all right? And remember, this is totally unscripted. Right. So, ChatGPT, something I use almost every single day. I want you to look at this. If you've never done this before, I want you to treat it like you're having a conversation with a person. Because ChatGPT, for example, has some level of intelligence. So we're actually going to look at something that's probably changing. Give you an example. Home ownership in Australia is becoming something that's increasingly difficult for younger people, particularly those that are in in their early 20s. They're working, they're trying to save, but it is just a runaway problem simply because the market forces, demand and supply of properties, interest rates, and so on, lots of different factors. So, my question is going to be a little bit like this. Could you tell me about how home ownership is changing and those in developed countries like Australia, which is where I live. Brisbane is home. Look, sorry, if young people in their early 20s cannot afford homes, what are alternative options? And we go. So here we go. Here's the reasons, a couple of them that I mentioned already. Skyrocketing property prices, cost of living and inflation, high interest rates, shifting values, casualized workforce, and gig economy. Millennials and Gen Z are prioritizing lifestyle, flexibility, and experiences. And remember, Gen Z and millennials are some are in the lots of them are in the workforce already, but also their next generation is just entering into the workforce, and who highly prioritize lifestyle, flexibility, and experiences over locking into a 30-year mortgage. I'll give you an example. I'm 38. A few years ago, bought my first house, and yeah, it's been great. It's expensive. It comes with a lot of pros and cons, both sides, in terms of outlaying a deposit, your commitment to repaying your mortgage repayments. But the big advantage is that it is a fixed asset that accrues value over time. Inflation being obviously a factor in terms of lifting the intrinsic value of the property, but also demand and supply forces that are outside of our own general control. Outside forces, external forces are forcing the market to demand much higher prices. And so we have as a result, a cost of living and inflation problem at hand. Problem, remember that. But yet there is a demographic out there who wants to increase their net worth, but also want to get onto the property ladder as soon as possible. And saving a deposit sometimes takes a decade or more. And by that time, the prices have almost doubled again. So we've got a runaway situation. So I think, for example, this area is ripe for change. Alternative options: rent vesting, co-ownership or fractional property investing, regional investing, real estate investment trusts, digital nomad life, long-term renting, and house hacking, right? I think if I was going to have a dig at this, I would say co-ownership, rent vesting, and digital nomad life, long-term renting are probably very much viable solutions, especially in developed countries. So now I'm going to actually use this tool, and I want to have a conversation. So let's see, if I was to create a tech product enhanced with AI, which of the above alternatives would be suitable? Let's see what it gives us. So remember, this is totally unscripted. If you're building a tech product enhanced with AI and want to tap into the property affordability issue for young people, and you could probably go and do the same, you'll very likely get similar results. Fractional property investing platform. Why it's suitable, right for disruption. There's the current platforms for property investing are clunky. They lack transparency and have limited user experience. So AI can help personalize portfolios, predict property market movements, and streamline onboarding. Enhanced features, AI enhanced features, smart matchmaking, recommend property fractions based on user goals, predictive analytics, auto rebalancing, suggest when to sell out or reinvest based on market changes. Cool. Rent vesting assistant app. Why it's suitable. People want to live in cool suburbs but can't afford to buy there. You help them invest smart elsewhere while renting where they love. So they get the best of both worlds with this. All right. AI enhanced features to include lifestyle and financial profile analysis, investment property finder, cash flow, and growth predictions, real-time rent versus buy calculators, portfolio tracking, and tax forecasting. Aligns with Gen Z millennial values, subscription-based SaaS model possible, education and execution in one single place. Co-ownership and legal matching platform. I think this is really cool. Why it's suitable? Buying with mates is appealing, but messy from a legal and financial standpoint. Tech can make this smooth with AI helping match, guide, and automate. So here you're going to match users with similar financial goals, locations, and timelines, auto-generate contracts, repayment plans, dispute resolution workflows, predict risk of conflict based on personality or financial patterns. Solves a growing trend, high trust, high retention, B2B play for conveyancers and brokers too. So with this particular solution, you could add in as some channel partners, conveyancers and brokers, and banking and lending and partnerships that might happen there too. So it's given us some conclusions here. If you want to solve a real pain and build a scalable, monetizable tech product, fractional investing, low barrier, rent vesting aligned with lifestyle, co-ownership, high demand, no good solution yet. And look, ChatGPT is even asking me if you want to map one of these out into an MVP, a minimum viable product with core features, user flows, and monetization models. So this is the sort of power that AI has to help you with your AI enhanced product. The whole idea here is to engineer prompts and have a conversation with AI, to be honest. All right. Now, if I was personally going to pick any one of these, I would probably pick rent vesting and co-ownership. Just cool. I'm gonna ask it one further question. Which one would be most suitable or suited to a family that has a nomadic work lifestyle? So let's So there we go. Now I'm centering in on a very, very particular uh, lifestyle. People who are Gen Z, millennials, who are even the next generation. What are they called? Gen Alpha, maybe. Someone let me know in the comments. I'm 38. I don't know. Nevertheless, best fit is AI enhanced rent vesting assistant built for nomads. Rent where they live. They can hop and change regularly, invest where their money is going to grow, stable high yield areas, keeps their lifestyle agile while still building wealth through property. So you could have a side where on the app or the web app, for example, where um, they can check out pretty much any city out there in the world. I know there are a couple like Nomad List that do that already. That probably the most popular out there. However, that doesn't mean that you can't go and create your own. You definitely can. Um, you could also partner with existing. Um, this this side of it allows them to pick and choose um, destinations in the world where they can easily rent where they live, have a nomadic work lifestyle. They're digital nomads, for example. And I think we will see a lot more of these people over the next few years to the end of the decade and further. But at the same time, they have a family. Uh, they're they're not particularly going to go to a backpackers, but let's say, for example, short-term apartments. They're not going to own any of their furniture. They actually rent their furniture on a subscription basis to see how you can now tack on everything that goes in the kitchen, in the lounge, the household furniture, plus the place itself. And also they're investing through the same app um, so that their net worth is also able to grow. Uh, Now, it's given us some minimum viable product feature ideas too. All right. So let's pause there for a second. Essentially, you're then going to describe the solution in plain English, no buzzwords. And if a 15-year-old can understand just by what it is that you do, what this app does, they are very likely then to say, take my money. The next thing to do is to put it in front of real people. You can create a landing page. Could be a Google form, could be a card site. You could go and drop it in Reddit, Facebook groups, and even run advertising to see who clicks, who signs up, are they asking questions, and would they pay to try it? The key is to ask for money early, make them pay, put a buy button on there. All right. When you're creating the minimum viable product to test out and validate, make sure you put a buy button on there. Give them early access. That's an option. You need one person to open their wallet up and say, take my money. I want to try this out. You don't need thousands of email signups that don't go anywhere. Otherwise, it just becomes, it's just a hobby. I want to show you the examples that have been given around the minimum viable product, just so you have a good idea. And this will help you actually validate the idea that you have. Right. MVP feature ideas. lifestyle and financial profiler, rent where you love, invest where you should, nomad mode, search rental properties that offer flexibility, nomad wealth tracker, dashboard, smart alerts and planning tools. And then it gives us some monetization models as well. And look, most of these can be started with a landing page or a very simple product, a minimum product. That's the whole idea. So you can go and use things like Replit or things like what's the other platform? There's a couple of others out there. Lovable, Replit. I think there's a third one out there as well, maybe Cursor. And just create the minimum to test out your theory. So you're basically testing the thesis out. And then monetizing. So freemium is a sign up, premium tools they pay for. You can acquire commissions from brokerage or property partners, both. Obviously, if it's this solution, you're looking at money changing hands, conveyances, possibly property partners, furniture, homewares, marketing, affiliate revenue from insurance, property managers, legal docs. Subscription is another one as well. Make it family or nomadic specific in this particular instance. And so when you involve families, you've got school involved, suburb indicators, cost of living, legal, visa. See how much there is just from this one single idea, right? Just from a rent vesting AI platform, you then create an ecosystem. Once you validate, you can then go and create the ecosystem around it. And this then becomes their one-stop shop for everything. And I think those that do so are going to win because there's no other solution out there. But first, validation. Right. If it doesn't work, the point of validation is not to prove that you are right. It's to prove a thesis. You have a theory, you want to test that theory out. And once you test that theory, you can then gather data from it. Is it successful? Can you then grow this out? And then is it scalable? Are going to be the next questions to ask. So if you're serious about turning your ideas into real business that is going to be meaningful over the next decade, I'm putting a lot of what I've learned, and mind you, I still have lots more to learn, but I take a lot of what I learned over the last 10 years in traditional businesses, the B2B space, the consumer space, e-commerce space, bricks and mortar, what people do and how they interact and where they exchange money, to this new era, matching the sales and marketing knowledge to this next era that we have on our hands. Like I said, by the end of the decade, the only businesses that exist are going to be the ones that have AI integrated in their ecosystems and have functions that are performed by AI as well. Now, I also want to say that for AI to work, you still need people. AI does not work without people. AI basically gives you the ability to connect different pieces in an ecosystem, where normally in the traditional business world, these different pieces like the mortgage brokers and the property managers and furniture and homewares, they're all very disconnected to each other. But AI gives you the ability, and also, mind you, vibe coding gives you the ability for anybody to start. And so when we marry these two up, the future looks like it's going to be solo entrepreneurs running $1 million businesses that are doing 100K a month in recurring revenue. That's just over that's $1.2 million a year. And if you start now, it's going to be possible for you to actually have the solution. So if you want to follow the journey on, in the next video, I'm actually going to show you how I created a business validator tool. You can actually go and check it out. It's in my profile link. I'll put it in the comments as well. But I created that without me knowing anything about coding. No code. It's a tool that's been created. It is my MVP, my minimum viable product, to see if my thesis is right or wrong. I could be wrong, but check it out if it interests you, and it might help you. It'll be probably very valuable. I will also say that things like mowing the lawn, fixing the plumbing, painting the house, they are not going to go away. But those businesses and professionals that implement AI processes are the ones that are going to actually do better, and probably will be the only ones that will exist in 5 years' time, at the end of the decade. So if you'd like to see the next video of me creating a no-code web app tool, stick around, like and subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when the next episode is out. Thank you for watching today. A little bit of homework, if you like. Go and have a conversation around a business idea with your favorite large language model. I use ChatGPT. It's my go-to. You can use it too. Go and have a try at it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time.